A rectangle has a perimeter of 40 meters. The length is 2 meters more than the width. Determine the dimensions of the particular rectangle. So for perimeters, we have a formula here. I can actually simplify this using distributive property. This would be A, which would equal to, sorry, this would be A, and that would be B plus C. So you can see how that's like in the same format. So I could really say that this is P, which equals 2L plus 2W. All right. So we're going to use that because that's much more easier to go with. All right. Okay, so anyways, this rectangle has 40 meters, okay, of perimeter. So within this little formula, I'm gonna add 40 meters. So it's gonna be, I'm gonna use another color here, and I'm gonna do it on this side. So we have 40 as our perimeter, and that's gonna be equal to 2 times length, plus 2 times width. Okay, now the length is 2 meters more than the width. So what this is saying is the length, aka the L, right? Excuse me, the L of the equation, right, which is over here, is can be translated into math language as equals to 2 meters more than the width. So this means that if we were to model out the relationship between length and width, because this talks about the relationship between length and width, it's literally telling us that the length relies on the amount of width there is within the equation. So here's how we can solve this. Well, um, I'm going to do it in, let's say, green, and I'm going to do it over here. All right. This is like my sort of like formula section, right? I'll just say formula, actually, formulas. Okay, so anyways, what we can do here is, um, well, length, which is L, will equal width, which is W, and then two more than the width. So that means that there's two more than the width, which means a plus two. More equates to like addition, right? So when I'm saying this, it's basically saying that the length is two more than the width. So here is this sentence translated into a mathematical expression, because all really these mathematical problem solving, word equations, or sorry, word problems are literally just translating what you see in words into math equations. So anyways, now we actually have a value for length, and that is W plus 2, or width plus 2. So therefore, we can substitute this length into our equation here. So to do that, I'm going to go back to black here, and it's going to be 40, which equals to 2. And then now, instead of L, I'm going to substitute W plus 2. And we're putting this in parentheses because we want to treat it as one entity or one thing, right? It's still length, right? So therefore, we want to treat it as length, or one variable, one thing, even though it's really two different, um, values, right? This is unknown, obviously. And then again, we're just going to add that with 2W. So let's go ahead and distribute this, because again, it's using the same formula, or the same form as distributive property. So it's just going to be 40, which equals 2W plus, I'm just going to put this in parentheses so it's just much more easier to read. 2 times 2, which equals 2W. And again, 40. And I'm just going to go ahead and simplify the 2 times 2 equation to 4, and then add that with 2W. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect like terms. In our case, this W and this W can be collected, so that would be 4 W, and then we're going to add that with the 4 that we have remaining. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to isolate W so we can find the value of W, which is width. So 40 equals 4W plus 4. And I'm going to first of all get rid of this 4. So to get rid of it, you do the inverse operation or the opposite operation. That's minus. That cancels it out over here. But when we do this, we have to add it over here too. So we would add minus 4 here. So then it's just going to be 40 minus 4, which equals 4W. And then what we're going to do is what we have here is that a 40 minus 4 will give us the value of 4 times the width. But we want to find out the width itself. So we'll divide this by 4, right? And we can divide this by 4 too. But actually, now that I'm just realizing it, we should simplify this part of the equation first. Makes it a little easier. So that is going to be 40 minus 4, which is 36. So let's go ahead and add 36 here, which equals 4W. And then we can divide this by 4, and then divide this by 4, because again, same logic. And then take out this side. So now we only have W isolated. So then we have 36 divided by 4, which equals W. And then finally, we do 36 divided by 4, which gives us the value of 9, and that's our width. Okay, so 9 is our width. When you can see, I did that through all this mathematically work, I guess, right? Let me just take that out there. Okay, so within our answer, I'm going to write over here, I'm going to write it in blue. We have width as 9. And particularly width as in 9 meters. It's very important to add your units, especially when you have some sort of like, you know, measurements, because you might get docked points for not adding it, right? Especially if your teacher is tough with marking. Okay, so width is 9 meters. Now length, remember, length directly relies on the amount of width. So length is going to actually just be 9 meters, or I can just write 9 in this case, plus 2. So then it's going to be equal to 11 meters. So therefore, to answer this problem, we have a length of 11 meters, and then we have a width of 9 meters. And that goes ahead and answers our problem for us.